God, in terms of not chronological order necessarily, although this would probably also line up, but in logical order, if we're speaking of in the logical order of the mind of God, what he ordains, then the order would go like this. God determined to utterly destroy the Canaanite tribes. And because God determined that they should be utterly destroyed, he therefore hardened their hearts so that they would come against in rebellion with a stubborn, stiff-necked heart against Israel, despite all the miraculous things that God had already performed through Israel. These people, by this point in the book of Joshua, by this point in this progressive conquest of the land of Canaan, they all know about Israel's God. They know who Yahweh is. They have heard what Yahweh did in Egypt. 10 plagues, the parting of the Red Sea, sustaining his people supernaturally with manna from the sky, from the heavens for 40 years as they wandered in the desert. They knew. Some of them may even as spies have been eyewitnesses of the parting of the Jordan River when Israel first entered into the land of Canaan. They have seen the ruins, the ash heap of Jericho, where the earth opened up and swallowed up the walls and defense of that tribe. They've heard of the conquering of Ai. They know about the 5 kings who gathered together in unity against Joshua and Israel, and how Joshua had all of his chiefs of war in Israel bring out those 5 kings, lay them on their backs, and put their feet on their necks to show the supremacy of Yahweh, that he is greater than all kings and all false gods. What I'm saying is that this is supernatural. This is not just merely a rebellion that the average person might have because they're ignorant of the things of God. Well, I rebelled against God because I didn't know. I wouldn't have rebelled against him if he just showed a little bit of effort to prove his existence. But, even though we live in this, miraculous world, even though I wake up with breath in my lungs, that's not proof, right? There's no proof for the existence of God if you disclude all the proof for the existence of God, right? Incredible argument made by every atheist. Well, I didn't know, and so it's not that I'm rebellious by nature. It's not that I actually have a sin nature, that my heart is like stone, that in sin did my mother conceive me, and in iniquity I was brought forth. No. That's not it. It's that God has failed, if he does exist, in his responsibility to sufficiently provide evidence for his existence. And because God failed, I then am ignorant, and my rebellion does not spur on my ignorance. Rather, my rebellion, it stems from my ignorance. I have an amoral ignorance. I'm not responsible for that. And because I'm ignorant, which, by the way, if I haven't said it already, is God's fault, and because I'm ignorant and it's God's fault, I can't help but rebel against a God that I don't even know exists. That's the way the mind of the unbeliever works, which is completely contrary to what God has said in Holy Scripture. The Bible does not say that men are ignorant and therefore rebel. The Bible says that men by nature are rebellious so that they intentionally do everything they can to remain ignorant. And in fact, because God is exceedingly gracious and kind, they're not truly, in the ultimate sense, ignorant. Because God has revealed himself by what he has made, that's Romans 1, so that all men are without excuse. And so what these men do is, because they're not ignorant, but they are in fact rebellious, is that they take the truth which they are aware of and they suppress it by their deeds of unrighteousness. So it is not that they are ignorant because God failed to prove himself and therefore rebel, but rather man is rebellious and therefore he does everything he can to not keep ignorance, but attain a state of ignorance. Because he actually is born into this world with a basic knowledge, not ignorance, but understanding that God exists. His eternal power, his divine nature. These things have been clearly not just displayed, but Romans 1 says perceived. God has been faithful to present the message, and man, even unregenerate man, cannot help but perceive the message, so that all are without an excuse. This is the same pattern, the same principle now applied in Joshua to the land of Canaan, to the wicked pagan inhabitants. What we know is true in regards to soteriology, anthropology, the spiritual state of man before salvation. That's the same principle that we see in a practical sense, in a national and tribal sense, with Israel and these pagan tribes in the land of Canaan. For it was the will of the Lord, it was of the Lord to harden their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle, so that he might utterly destroy them, and that they might have no favor, no quarter, no peace treaties, no terms of covenant, that they would have no favor, no option of surrender, but that he might destroy them as the Lord commanded Moses. So the Lord, in terms of logical order, in the mind of God, what he ordained, what he chose sovereignly to do, is that the Lord determined to wipe out the inhabitants of the land of Canaan. And he determined this in a technical sense before the foundations of the world were laid.